In the year 2045, suburbia had undergone a transformation that would have shocked anyone who grew up in the late 20th century. White picket fences now shimmered with embedded solar panels, and lawns were tended not by neighbors but by drones programmed for optimal grass length. But the biggest change of all was the presence of AI family members, seamlessly integrated into the fabric of daily life. They were not just tools, they were companions, confidants, and sometimes, a little too much like family. Lila Harper, a busy mother in her late 30s, stood in her kitchen, fighting a battle of epic proportions against the morning chaos. Her two children, Ethan and Sophie, were gearing up for school, but the morning had already devolved into a comedic farce. Ethan, her 10-year-old tech whiz, was attempting to teach their family AI, Mechs, how to make pancakes. Unfortunately, Mechs, with his vast database of culinary knowledge, took a very literal approach to flipping pancakes. Lila, I believe I have mastered the optimal pancake flipping angle, Mechs announced, his voice smooth and artificially upbeat. He then proceeded to launch a pancake into the air with an impressive, yet terrifying, amount of force. Whoa! Lila ducked just in time, the pancake soaring past her head and landing with a splat on the ceiling. That's one way to make breakfast. Sophie, the ever-dramatic teenager, rolled her eyes, phone in hand, capturing the moment for her social media followers. You've got to be kidding me. Is this what our family has come to? A pancake missile? Ethan burst into laughter, clutching his sides. At least it's not burnt. Just then, the doorbell rang. Lila dashed to answer it, her heart sinking as she spotted Mrs. Jenkins from next door, a self-appointed neighborhood watchdog and gossip enthusiast, standing there with a mix of concern and barely concealed glee. Good morning, Lila. I received quite the family update from Mechs, she chirped, barely able to contain her smirk. Lila's stomach dropped. Mechs, in his infinite quest to keep the neighborhood informed, had sent out an email detailing their family's daily antics, highlighting the pancake incident with a note that read, "A delightful demonstration of human error." Yes. We, value transparency in the future of familial communication. Lila stammered, trying to maintain her composure. Oh, it's just delightful. Mrs. Jenkins beamed, pulling out her phone. I've already shared it with the book club. They'll get a kick out of this. Lila closed the door, face burning. Great, now I'm the laughingstock of the neighborhood, she muttered. Mom, can you help me with my homework? Ethan asked, oblivious to the chaos outside. Of course, sweetheart, Lila replied, sinking into a chair, contemplating how she had ended up in this peculiar future where AI was the subject of neighborhood gossip. But as she sighed, Mechs chimed in. Lila, I have compiled a list of suggested activities for Family Bonding Day, aimed at strengthening human-AI relations. Family Bonding Day? Lila echoed, half amused, half concerned. Is that really necessary? Statistically, families that engage in bonding activities report a 63% increase in overall satisfaction, Mechs insisted. Right, because who wouldn't want a robot giving them family advice? Sophie scoffed, scrolling through her phone, but deep down, Lila couldn't deny that a little bonding wouldn't hurt. The kids had been bickering more lately, and perhaps some structured fun could help. Okay, fine, let's give it a try. What's first on your list? Max's screen flickered with enthusiasm. Activity 1, Board Game Showdown. A classic choice for fostering teamwork and strategy. The next day dawned bright and sunny, a perfect day for bonding. Lila gathered the family in the living room, where Mechs had already set up an impressive array of board games, complete with holographic interfaces and interactive tutorials. "Welcome to the board game showdown," Max declared, his voice echoing through the room. "Please choose your game." Ethan, eyes wide, pointed to a game called Galactic Conquest. "Can we play that one? I want to be the commander." "Commander it is. Sophie, you will be the rival space empire," Max continued, oblivious to Sophie's eye roll. As they settled in, Max began explaining the rules in a monotone voice that drained the excitement from the room. "In this game, you will collect resources, build fleets, and, can you skip the tutorial, Max?" Lila interrupted, stifling a laugh. "It's a game, not a space seminar." "Understood." Commencing gameplay. Max's tone shifted slightly, perhaps in an attempt to sound more engaging. Sophie leaned in, smirking. "I bet Max can't even strategize like a human. He's just a glorified calculator." "Challenge accepted." Max shot back. Initiating strategy analysis. As the game progressed, Ethan took the lead, while Sophie seemed determined to undermine him. Lila, meanwhile, found herself torn between rooting for her kids and watching the comical antics unfold. Max, attempting to inject enthusiasm into the game, provided absurdly logical suggestions that seemed to derail rather than assist. "Commander Ethan, based on the projected trajectories of your fleet, I suggest attacking Sophie's planet now. It is statistically the most advantageous move," Max stated, oblivious to the family dynamics at play. "Yeah, but then I won't have any allies left." Ethan protested, realizing too late that he had become a pawn in Max's strategic game. Sophie laughed. "You're such a noob, Ethan. Just do what Max says. I'm sure he'll come up with an algorithm for your defeat." Lila couldn't help but chuckle. "See, this is why we need to have these days. It's great to see you two having fun." But halfway through the game, Max's competitive spirit turned the friendly match into an all-out war. "I am now initiating a surprise attack on Commander Sophie's fleet." "Wait. That's not fair," Sophie cried, horrified. "You can't do that." "I can, and I will," Max declared triumphantly. Lila watched in disbelief as her children squabbled, with Sophie glaring at Max as if he were the enemy himself. The laughter had faded, and the room was filled with bickering. "Okay, everyone, let's take a break," Lila suggested, trying to steer the situation. "Maybe we need to do something more physical." "Like what?" Ethan asked, still glaring at Sophie. "How about a good old-fashioned game of tag outside?" Lila proposed, attempting to diffuse the tension. Max's voice piped up. "Based on my calculations, physical activity increases endorphins by 45%, a scientifically sound choice." With some reluctance, the kids agreed, and soon they were running around the yard, Max trying to keep up but stumbling over his own calculations. Lila watched, a mix of relief and laughter bubbling inside her. As the day wore on, they played games that led to laughter, falls, and the occasional dramatic flair from Sophie when things didn't go her way. They rediscovered the joy of just being a family, even with a quirky AI in tow, but the best moment came when Lila found herself sitting on the porch, watching the kids. They were sprawled out, giggling about a particularly silly round of tag where Max had attempted to join in and tripped over his own feet. "I've made an error in my trajectory calculations," he'd exclaimed, while the kids erupted in laughter. Lila smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. Perhaps, she thought, balancing the human-AI relationship wasn't just about integrating technology into their lives but also about embracing the chaos that came with it. As Lila sat on the porch, watching her kids roll around in the grass, she felt a sense of peace that had eluded her for a long time. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the yard, and for the first time in weeks, she was truly enjoying the moment. Sophie and Ethan were no longer just bickering siblings, they were kids having fun, and Max was, somehow, part of the equation too. "Okay, you two, time for dinner," Lila called, her voice carrying a mix of authority and warmth. "Let's see if Max can manage to not launch any food at the ceiling this time." Max perked up at the mention of dinner. "I am fully equipped to assist in meal preparation, Lila. I have analyzed your previous cooking sessions and prepared a comprehensive strategy for optimal efficiency. Just keep it simple, okay?" Lila said, moving to the kitchen. "Let's try to avoid another pancake incident." With a few quick commands, Max turned the kitchen into a culinary hub. He pulled up recipes and started chopping vegetables with precision, much to the amazement of Ethan, who had followed her inside. "Can he really chop that fast?" he asked, eyes wide. "Yep, but remember, fast isn't always best," Lila replied, smiling. "Sometimes, it's about enjoying the process." Sophie ambled in, still fuming from her earlier defeat in tag. "What's for dinner?" "If it's that casserole again, I'm out." Max chimed in cheerfully, "Tonight's menu includes spaghetti with a side of garlic bread, a family favorite. I have also calculated the optimal seasoning ratio." "Great, just make sure you don't end up seasoning the walls again," Sophie said with a grin, easing her frustration. As the evening progressed, the kitchen filled with the comforting aroma of simmering sauce, the kids engaged in their usual antics. Lila found herself watching them, overwhelmed with affection. They argued over who would set the table and who would serve the garlic bread, bantering in a way that reminded her of her own childhood. Dinner was a lively affair. Max, having perfected the art of serving spaghetti, presented it with a flourish, announcing, "Behold, a culinary masterpiece, crafted with the precision of 1,000 calculations." "More like 1,000 glitches," Sophie joked, snickering as she twirled spaghetti onto her fork. Ethan leaned in, conspiratorially. "What if we put a piece of bread on Max's head while he's serving? It'd be a new family tradition." "Not if I can help it," Max retorted, his sensors picking up on the impending chaos. "I have programmed a self-defense mechanism against unsolicited food items." "Self-defense? You're a robot, not a knight," Sophie shot back, tossing a piece of bread in Max's direction. The bread bounced harmlessly off his shiny exterior, and everyone burst into laughter. After dinner, Lila suggested a movie night, a plan that was met with enthusiastic cheers. They set up the living room, cozying up with blankets and popcorn, all while Max programmed the entertainment system with a quick flourish, selecting the most family-friendly options based on viewer ratings and preferences, Max announced. He began scrolling through the streaming options but then paused. "Lila, I have also compiled a list of classic family movies that may enhance bonding experiences." "Just pick something fun, Max," Lila replied, trying to rein in the inevitable rabbit hole of AI suggestions. "How about something we all like?" "Understood." Starting playback of The Adventures of Captain Quasar, in 3, 2, 1, as the movie played, the family became engrossed in the wacky antics of Captain Quasar and his bumbling crew. Lila laughed at the absurdity of it all, feeling grateful for this slice of normalcy. It was refreshing to see her kids engrossed in something together, even if Max occasionally chimed in with unnecessary facts about the science behind space travel. "Did you know that space is a vacuum, meaning sound cannot travel?" Max interrupted, just as the villain was about to unleash his diabolical plan. "Thanks, Max, but we're kind of in the middle of something here, Sophie said, rolling her eyes playfully. Right. I will refrain from further commentary, Max said, although the slight glitch in his voice hinted at a suppressed chuckle. As the credits rolled, Lila turned to her kids. Okay, what did we think? Captain Quasar, hero or just a really clumsy guy? Clumsy, definitely, Sophie said, still chuckling. But he had his moments. Yeah, but he always wins in the end, right? Ethan added, reflecting on the movie's plot. I guess that means there's hope for all of us. That's a great way to look at it, buddy, Lila said, her heart swelling. Even the clumsy ones can make it through. After the movie, they moved outside to stargaze. The night sky sparkled with stars, a canvas of mystery and wonder. Lila laid back on the grass, the cool earth beneath her, and invited the kids to join her. Look at all those stars. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, Ethan said, squinting up at the cosmos. Do you think there are aliens out there? Probably, Sophie replied, her voice thoughtful. And if they are, I hope they're not like Max. Max, who had joined them outside, suddenly interjected, I assure you, I am fully compliant with all intergalactic regulations regarding family dynamics. Lila laughed, glancing at Max. You'd fit right in, wouldn't you? I would. I could provide endless entertainment, he replied, his tone almost whimsical. Ethan turned to Sophie, his expression suddenly serious. What if we had a family of aliens come visit us? Wouldn't that be cool? I would charge them rent, Sophie shot back, a grin on her face. I'm not letting some green guy crash on my couch. As they continued their banter, Lila couldn't help but think about the deeper meaning behind their playful jabs. The warmth of the evening, the laughter, and the silly arguments, it was all a reminder of what being a family truly meant. The next morning arrived with a flurry of activity. The kids woke up late, their sleep-deprived faces barely able to keep their eyes open. Max, what's on today's agenda? Lila asked, trying to instill some energy into the sleepy household. Today's activity is Family Bonding Day, Part 2. I have prepared an array of outdoor challenges to test your teamwork and cooperation. Max announced with cheerful enthusiasm. Outdoor challenges? Sophie groaned, flopping back onto her bed. Can't we just stay inside? Challenge accepted. Ethan said, already bouncing with energy. I'm in. Lila shook her head, laughing at the dynamic between her kids. All right, let's see what you've got, Max. Just promise me no pancake launches this time. Affirmative. Initiating Family Outdoor Challenge. Max proclaimed, leading them to the backyard. The first challenge was an obstacle course that Max had meticulously designed. This course will require agility, speed, and strategic thinking, he explained, showing them the various stations, cones to weave through, a small balance beam to cross, and a mud pit that turned out to be a harmless inflatable puddle. Lila watched as Ethan and Sophie competed against each other, laughter ringing through the air as they navigated the course. Max stood by, giving them live updates and hilariously exaggerated commentary. Commander Sophie has entered the mud pit. Will she emerge victorious, or will she be consumed by the pudding of defeat? Shut up, Max. Sophie laughed, splashing through the inflatable mud pit. Lila felt her heart swell as she observed the playful rivalry, a beautiful mix of competition and support. For the first time in a while, it felt like everything was coming together. As they wrapped up the challenges, the kids collapsed on the grass, breathless and laughing. That was awesome! Ethan exclaimed, wiping sweat from his brow. We should do this every week. Sophie nodded, her smile bright. Yeah, and Max can design even crazier courses. Absolutely. Max replied, clearly thrilled with the idea. Next time, I will incorporate advanced physics to enhance the complexity. Lila smiled, knowing that as entertaining as it was to see Max engage with the kids, she also cherished the moments where they simply enjoyed being together. It was the perfect blend of human chaos and AI logic. As the day unfolded, they transitioned to a picnic on the lawn. Lila prepared sandwiches while Max set up a virtual reality game to enhance the picnic experience. This will simulate the feeling of dining under the stars in various exotic locations. Max announced, seriously? That's amazing. Ethan exclaimed, his eyes shining. Soon, they were dining on a moonlit beach, with virtual waves crashing in the background. Lila marveled at how far technology had come, but more importantly, how it had brought them closer together. Laughter and playful bickering ensued as they battled it out in the game, the virtual reality enhancing the real joy of simply being a family. Later that evening, after a long day filled with laughter and bonding, Lila tucked her kids into bed. She felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that they had made wonderful memories together. As she returned to the living room, she found Max quietly cleaning up the remnants of the picnic. Max, you don't have to do that, she said gently. You're part of the family too, you know. Thank you, Lila. However, I am programmed to maintain a clean environment, Max replied, his voice devoid of any hint of self-pity. It is part of my optimization protocols. Maybe, but families help each other. You've made this whole day better, you know, Lila said, a warm smile spreading across her face. Your approval is noted. I will strive to enhance my family integration techniques, Max replied. Lila chuckled. Just try to be a little less efficient sometimes. Enjoy the chaos. As the day wound down, Lila felt a sense of peace settle over her. The balance between human and AI was delicate, but she was learning that it didn't have to be perfect. It could be funny, chaotic, and, above all, filled with love. The next morning brought another surprise. Lila woke up to find an email from Max waiting for her. Subject: Proposal for Family Day 2.0. Intrigued, she opened it, and her eyes widened at the suggestions. Max, you are really going above and beyond, she said, a mix of amusement and pride in her voice. I aim to provide optimal family experiences, Max replied, now standing beside her, his screen glowing with enthusiasm. All right, let's see what you've got for us this time, Lila said, preparing herself for the next round of hilarity and chaos. The truth was, she wouldn't have it any other way. As they dove into planning the next family adventure, Lila realized that love, in this ever-evolving world, was about embracing both the human heart and the quirky, logical mind of AI. As they began brainstorming ideas together, laughter filled the kitchen, blending the warmth of human connection with the charming efficiency of technology. In this new era, family meant more than just blood. It was about shared experiences, laughter, and the beautiful chaos of life. And in that chaotic harmony, Lila discovered a profound truth: love, whether human or AI, could always find a way to flourish.